Hello, everybody, and welcome back to scheduling conflicts. And the way that we delineate, is it scheduling conflicts or is it scheduling conflicts? Who's to say? I haven't decided on that one yet, but it's a little bit of both. Today, Ethan's going to be our game master. We're not playing Dungeons and Dragons. Ethan, if you want to tell him what we're working on today, take it away.
Yeah, we're playing one of my favorite TTRPGs that is not D&D. We were playing Blades in the Dark, a fantastic RPG about a group of nefarious ne'er-do-wells trying to make their way in the world. We are playing in our own fantasy setting, for those of you that watch the Thursday stream, of Prospect, and this campaign takes place on the city of Leviathan, a floating city in the incredibly cursed and dangerous ocean of the world of Prospect. It is a place where people who are easily and comfortably willing to give up any semblance of safety for a chance at success go to live and usually die before they get the chance to leave. It is a purely corporate entity run largely by a security force called Leviathan Security, colloquially known as LSEC. LSEC does not uphold the law. LSEC upholds the rights of property for Arcane Acquisitions, the patron company that owns Leviathan. A group of pseudo celebrities hunt massive, impossibly large and dangerous beasts in the ocean below, led by Dareth Tridentia, an incredibly popular local figure, and the first person to ever kill what is called a Category 5, which is the category reserved only for those creatures who pose imminent threat to Leviathan itself, the great city. All of our characters, we're about to go around the wheel and have them introduce themselves and tell us about a day in the life of these fabulous characters. So for those of you who don't know, it is Blades in the Dark was produced by John Harper with Evil Hat Productions. There's a number of really cool games called that are forged in the dark. They are built off of this system. I will be candid. We have talked about making one a few times. That'll probably happen at some point in the near distant future. So with that, a massive ship slowly bobs, floating about a half a mile above the water on a massive midnight black sea. The sun is currently set. When it rises, the ocean will be somewhat more comforting, somewhat more pretty, a nice cerulean color. But no matter what, the ocean of Prospect is plagued by shadows and swirls of color and light that dance around its surface, betraying how truly dangerous it is. Those who truly do not value their own lives and only value the chance at success will occasionally brave those waters to hunt leviathans, or even crazier, to delve below the waves, to search in great submersibles and with the aids of magic the ancient ruins of the arcane empire that have sunk below the waves. Our group is somewhat less suicidal than that. They are a group of criminals, specifically shadows, thieves, spies, and saboteurs making their way in the great city of Leviathan. They live in Redmayne, one of the fancier districts, sort of a mix between a residential and a business district, kind of on the cusp of that before you get to houses that are too nice to be near anybody shopping. Where I guess we'll just go around the horn here. I'm going to go in the order that I am looking at. Actually, I'm going to go in the order that Stream is looking at, so that it is a little less confusing. So we will start with Spencer. Spencer, introduce your character, and this is your free time. Tell me a little bit about what does a day in the life of this character look like?
Yeah, so I'm playing as Trelio Sinclair. His agent name, his alias is Leo. He is part of the Shadows group that we're working with. He's of a noble background, and he's a spider. So he's a devious mastermind, somebody who has plans on plans on plans, is able to help out allies, stop enemies in their tracks, etc. Um, Leo is He's a middle-aged gentleman. He's fairly well kept, all things considered. He's kept himself in good physical regard, and he wears finery for the most part with his noble background. What most people don't know is that Trelios is part of a noble line that is broke. They've run out of money, and Leo's in the game to get that money back to restore the wealth to his noble family. Day in the life, it is him keeping up appearances, even with no money to be spent. So it's going to places, shaking hands, kissing babies, stuff like that. And in the background, running this gang to get that cash that he needs. So that is Leo, aka Trelio Sinclair.
So we find Trelios sort of moving and grooving across Leviathan as sort of living the life of a noble during the day, and then in the cool and comforting dark of night, switching gears and robbing people to maintain the coffers of his slowly dying house. I love it! It's very good. Going around, Stefan, you're up next. Talk to me about our next character.
All right. This character is Elzer Tovos, alias Thwack, who was from the Moloch Islands in the Brackish Waste area.
Great.
And kind of he grew up there just sort of keeping things tidy and stuff until like some strange like curse started afflicting the entire town, turning him into like the ghostly zombies that from just like living so close to the water, and managed to fight his way out of there, like leaving everything behind and then ending up on Leviathan, where he worked for like a sort of like a scrapping and salvage company. And just because he thought like his trinket was like that he lost in his escape was what protected him from the curse, he kind of like little knickknacks, odds and ends, just little like corners and scraps of like whatever they salvage, he'd usually start bringing home and sort of hoarding, until one day I guess he like took something that did have like a little bit of magical residue and got him in trouble with that company, and so he kind of laid low, ended up bumping into Leo, I guess, and then getting roped into this, and as being kind of like a little bit more of a muscle character for him.
Love that. Very fun. So this noble finds this like I love the, you know, the like Ocean's 11 build of this, right? We see Leo kissing hands and shaking babies, making his way through Leviathan, and then he runs into Elzer. He runs into Thwack on one of these adventures, and the two of them share a knowing look and quickly fall in. All right, Michael, talk to us about our next character here.
So the character I've got, his name is Sam Salt.
Hell
Yes.
Oh, I love it. And his alias is Salt Dog.
Salt Dog!
Salt Dog.
I thought for sure you were gonna say Pepper.
You can't be now.
I don't know, Salt Dog's pretty funny.
My character is Glance. He's like late 40s, also older gentleman. He straight up cowboy.
Oh, just a cowboy. Love it.
Cowboy, yep. He's got the flannel, he's got the boots, he's got the hat, all of that. And he is a whisperer, so he delves into the magics. We talked about this a little bit. He gets his magic from the ocean. It's a little trick that he learned from where he's from, Glint's Lake. People drink the water there. He did get a little boost. If you drink the water here, you get a different kind of boost.
Yeah, so you're sort of inured of this strange arcane water that gifts you with power. For those of you listening in the distant future who are obviously massive fans of our growing network, and you're like, but I thought Prospect was a D&D setting. Widen your horizons. We have run Prospect, we have run D&D, Monster of the Week, and now Blades in the Dark in Prospect. If we were to cut away to the D&D version of this adventure, all of these characters would be ludicrously more powerful, but it wouldn't be very good for running a heist. So instead, we are running in Blades in the Dark.
And then what I was going to say was he is an underwaker, as most people from Glint's is, just trying to survive the onslaught of Bastion. And he's come here looking for something to give Glint's Wake a little bit of an edge in this forever fight.
Love it, love it. Great. Yes, we've talked about how so Glint's Wake is this distant place that is seen as sort of its very existence as seen as kind of a slight against the powers that be, and so it is constantly harried by mortar strikes that blast across its surface harmlessly, thankfully, because of the pretty considerable force that Glint's Wake has managed to bring to bear to defend themselves. So with that, I think we will cut to the crew getting together to choose a heist. You can either go through a contact, or you can just tell me what kind of heist you're looking for, and we can just sort of walk around town until you find something that excites you. You guys have both your coin. You've got a lot of enemies, but you're not broke. You're all eating consistent meals. You're getting consistent sleep. Your facility probably has heat. You know what I mean? You guys are sort of have a certain level of upkeep. To give a little bit more of a bird's eye view on Leviathan really fast, obviously the hub and the rim are easy to locate. All of the other places are sort of intermingled. It's not worth taking the time to go over the map. The main trait of Leviathan that is sort of odd but worth noting is that spread across its surface are these tributaries, almost rivers, sort of these like Venetian flows that people do occasionally ride on boats, although that is illegal because this is the drinking water for the city. The center of Leviathan, the actual immediate center of it, is a hole that you could look down in and see the ocean below, that through magical means, water is pulled up out of the ocean, processed, and flows through the city as purified drinkable water. That is a popular means of transportation for people who don't want to be found, but it is against LSEC policy to do so. So that is just something I want to outline. So if you visualize, the ship is sort of kind of a more normal shape with just this hole through the center and these massive crystals that it uses to hover. Again, like a crazy distance above the water, like a half a mile above the water. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to you guys as we join Trelios, Elzer, and Sam, who probably know each other as Leo, Thwack, and Salt Dog. It's up to you if you know each other's real names or not. In their hideout, I assume. You're either about to go meet contacts, or you already have something in mind. I hand the reins over to you guys.
Well, I suppose that we should probably speak with the crew's criminal contact, Amancio.
He's always seemed reliable to me.
I'm sure he's got something interesting enough for us.
I don't know. That guy's a little cuckoo sometimes.
Well, yes. He's also part of the criminal underwake, so we're kind of all a little bit crazy. Do you have somebody else in mind that we could go speak to, Salt Dog?
No, not a single person.
All right, I want to see how it is.
Okay, we join the crew as they walk down the streets of Redmayne, this beautiful, like, brickstone neighborhood. The closest thing that Leviathan has to a neighborhood like that. The nicest buildings here still, if inspected a little too closely, have a certain degree of patchwork to them. It's difficult to get building materials. Pretty much only the hub is going to have like completely new structures because they have the money to get stone shipped in, or even better, they can pay dozens of wizards to transmute materials into whatever the hell they want to build their house out of. As you guys are making your way around, eventually you make your way to Amancio's hideout. Right, he's a deal broker. He does this rather nefariously. So I will ask you, my delightful crew here, what business is the front for what Amancio actually does? What does Amancio pretend to be?
Amancio is a fashion designer.
Absolutely. I love it. And it's the perfect neighborhood for it to be in. So you walk up to this like tailor shop, on this like row that is probably consists largely of, tailors, hat makers, dressmakers, and haberdasheries. You find Amancio's store. Uh, and to make you have made a pun earlier, you will see that Amancio's store is called the Cuckoo's Nest and has a delightful, bright yellow bird on its sign, a sort of unnatural color that casts a gentle, unnatural light off of his sign, a bioluminescent algae that makes a kind of neon adjacent light source in the city of Leviathan. It lends this canary yellow light down onto the street and casting off of the other buildings as you all make your approach and walk in. Whoever is the last of you through flips the open sign to close and locks the door as you walk inside. Amancio, unfortunately, does need to pretend to be a tailor rather successfully to avoid Elsec busting his illegal operation. And so you do, in fact, find him with about 4 pins in the corner of his mouth as he looks over, and you can see that he is currently working on what seems to be a 3-piece tuxedo made entirely out of some kind of leather. He goes, "Oh, hello, 1 second, minute." Leans over, takes the pins out of his mouth, stands up, dusts off his trousers. He stands up to greet you all. Amancio is in unnaturally bright hot pink pants and a horribly clashing bright green shirt. This is Amancio's sort of thing in the fashion industry. His color should be bold. As he walks over to you, he goes, "So, how can I help my new neighbors in the village today?"
Well, Amancio, as I'm sure you've heard, we have recently set up shop in a new part of town.
Yes.
And we are looking to make a big splash. We've already made a couple of enemies. If we can get our name out there in more positive ways, that'd be incredible.
Absolutely. So you're not looking to attack any guilds or make any new affronts. You're looking for something a little bit more interesting.
Mm.
Are you in it for the money or are you in it for the spectacle?
Money's always good.
Yeah, unfortunately, at this point, we're all in it for the money. Spectacle, though, is a very close second. I think it's
Next mission.
it'd be nice. Yeah.
Certainly. All right. If you're in it for the spectacle... Pardon me while I look at my list of locations that would be relevant for this. Well, if you're looking for spectacle, if you're looking to make a bold statement, but you don't want to make an enemy of anybody with too significant of a security force, I see 2 pretty viable options. In the northern district of Redmayne, there is the Warburton Casino. They are universally reviled, and so attacking them will bring you very little in the way of negative press. And there will be plenty of money to be made in grabbing whatever it is that you grab. And I actually know quite a few people. And you see that as he is continuing to talk about this, he has taken a ledger out, and you can see what looks like a ledger full of just countless purchases and acquisitions of fabric. He's tracing down that and somehow telling you about rumors and allies and enemies in the city. So this is clearly sort of how he keeps his books in a very literal way. The Warburton Casino is not popular with just about anybody. They are nefarious for racking up debt with newcomers to the city and then selling them back to the company in indentured servitude. So nobody is the biggest fan of them. And of course, there's a rather gauche new business downtown called Clearwater Creations that are sort of a force for new money to come into the area, move into new business, bring up the prices, that kind of thing. Both are wildly unpopular and wildly successful. So it would be quite the spectacle. Maybe not the easiest task, but something to make a friend or 2. Either of those ringing true?
I turn to my allies. What are you thinking?
I mean, the only saw or the accruing debt. I mean, nobody likes debt. We can make a few friends that way.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's
That's my
fair
vote, at least.
thought.
They almost pulled me into that place to start betting one time, but I refused.
Yes,
Very
no, they
aggressive
are
tactics.
pushy, I would say.
Plus, if we get them out, we could be a new gambler's den. Make a
That's a
little
good
bit.
point. I mean, if we destroy them, we could take over a portion.
Ooh, well,
All right.
I think bankrupting either of them would take a fair amount of work. Although you could just destroy Clearwater Creations is in a building that is sort of what I would describe as sort of a blow-upable size. So if you wanted them completely off the grid, I suppose that's an option. But I didn't think that
So
was the sort of business you all were into.
no, we're
Okay.
not. Point. Are you thinking Clearwater or are we thinking casino? Quick vote.
Casino, maybe for me.
Casino. All right.
Casino.
Casino. Then we're doing the casino.
Warburton's it is. All right. Well, I can tell you the money that's in it. If you grab, you have a lot of options here. You can basically just take whatever it is. It just needs to be big. It needs to be impactful. Steal something that matters. If you steal one of their shipments of cash that flows in or out, if you steal a shipment of arcane or of water, I hear they even get red meat shipments in. You know that is incredibly pricey on Leviathan, getting meat shipped in from the coast. Anything that just choose something that feels impactful and strong, and after my cut it would be 7 coin. Do you plan to continue to operate against the SSC?
Yeah, probably.
Well, then you'd get 7 coin for your efforts. 6 if you pay off them as well. That's a personal choice.
We can pay them off later when we've got more in the coffers.
All right. I'm not here to tell you what to do. So that's the best lead I have. Those are the best that I have. So it sounds like you're going after Warburton's. Good for you. If you need anything else from me, I'd be happy to, for a reasonable price, assist you with this. And they will give you what little few details they know about Warburton Casino. Warburton Casino was, of course, settled by Elamias. No, unfortunately, no. By Elamias Warburton. Pretty close to the inauguration of the city. It turns out if you get, almost in the low millions of people living on one big boat, they are going to want to do something for fun. And the Warburton Casino quickly became very popular and then very unpopular and is now kind of a tourist trap. They lure people in, give them predatory contracts to pay off their gambling debts, and then sell those contracts immediately back to Arcane Acquisitions. And they become employees of Leviathan, much like almost everybody on Leviathan is now is an employee these days. That's pretty much the bare bones of it. It's a large, capacious and spacious casino. I don't want to give away too much because that's kind of against the spirit of the game a little bit. So I will just ask, what do you guys think you're going after? And is there any work you want to do before we get started?
All right. Here's what I'm thinking. We get into the mainframe and we steal all of the contracts. We sell them for like 10%.
Oh, so
what they're worth.
all the contracts that haven't been sold yet, all the ones that are
Yeah.
like still processing.
We do a massive undercut, route it into our bank, get all the income, and we sell the contracts for super cheap. So people can buy themselves out, other companies can buy them, so that way it's not going directly to them. That's what I'm thinking.
I like it.
Sounds good. Maybe even a way of like, perhaps as a distraction or just giving them a little bit of like seed money to buy out their contracts. Maybe we can like rewire a couple of the casino machines or something while we're there to like start like giving out jackpot after jackpot.
That's pretty
is
funny.
And that is a perfect moment for me to smash cut to our to the open of our heist here. I think you guys have unwittingly done, where is it, one of the steps in that process, which is giving me the detail. So I know what the heist is. The heist is you're stealing a huge amount of these contracts, rerouting them out to public sale for pennies on the dollar, and the detail is you are also going to try to rig it so that a bunch of machines win all at the same time. So that's the detail, and that's the heist. Now, we need to kick things off, and we need to make our position roll. Let me really quick grab the rules for that, just so that we don't, just so that I don't steer you in the wrong way. Acquisitions, gang rep, downtime. Nope. Let me grab the Blades in the Dark book and find my page.
If at all possible, now would be a great time for a solid 2, so I can use the bathroom while you're checking that.
That would
rule.
be perfect. So for
Sure.
anybody watching, we are going to take. I don't want to. 2 is too weird. Let's take 5. We'll get back at
5.
9:13. That's not good. We'll get back at 9:13 and we'll pick up with the heist. So just a 5-minute break. I'll see you all very soon. Hello, everybody. I've just clicked to the wrong stream bed 4 times and everyone saw it. So you're welcome for that little tour of the many different Streamlabs setups that we have. I just clicked the wrong one like 4 times. That's great. Welcome back to our Blades in the Dark playthrough here on the great floating city of Leviathan, part of our Prospect setting, which I assume sometime in 2031 we'll get that source book out to you guys. So just hang in there. It's coming eventually, I'm positive. We just finished up with Trelios, Elzer, and Sam. I thought you were going to ask if Amancio had a job for you. And that was not what happened. Instead, you just sort of asked for advice. You asked Amancio, like, what would you do in the area if you wanted to make a name for yourself? And Amancio gave you 2 names. The Warburton Casino, an infamously nefarious casino that basically works people into terrible debt and then sells that debt to the company to force them into indentured servitude. Or Clearwater Creations, a force for gentrification, basically, that sells beautiful, fresh, clean water in novelty packaging for incredible values so that they can sort of drive up the cost of living in the neighborhood. You decided to go with the more nefarious and well-connected Warburton Casino. Started, of course, by Elamias Warburton, something to the tune of about 180 years ago, when Leviathan was established in earnest after the horrible, never-forgotten wreck of the Maelstrom, the first ship that was sent out on the seas to harvest the great boons of the dangerous ocean and was summarily destroyed. We are about to do what's called the engagement roll. That means we're about to do the initial roll that decides sort of our level of success here. I have a couple of leading questions that I'm supposed to now ask. Is this operation particularly bold or daring?
Yes.
+1 dice, so you're at 2 dice. Is this operation overly complex? If anything, I would say it's not quite complex enough. You are going to steal a bunch of contracts and then sell them for very cheap. That's pretty... I don't feel like that is overly complex. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? Their wallets? Absolutely. Is the target strongest against this approach, or do they have particular defenses? Yes, they are a casino. They are made to keep people from robbing them, like most businesses. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation? They already have. That's +1. Are any enemies or rivals interfering? No, you specifically chose somebody that was publicly reviled, which led to a smaller score. You're robbing a casino and only getting 8 coin down to 7. A lot of which, for the record, you guys are going to have to pocket. You don't have the coffers you need to hold on to that much capital. So you are going to have to spend some of it immediately on probably frivolities just to make sure that you can sort of keep your budget. Are there any other elements that you might want to consider? So is there anything else that we feel affects this situation? I'm not sure there is.
That kind of covers it.
Disguises, maybe?
So we have
That'll be later.
We have a really fun situation here. So this is for the most part, this is a dice pool game. You guys are going to be rolling d6s for just about everything. And what you do anytime you roll a skill is, so let's say Stefan has 3 in Prowl, and Stefan wants to sneak up on somebody. Stefan would roll 3d6. 1s, 2s, and 3s are failures. 4s and 5s are successes with a consequence. 6s are perfect successes. And you just take whatever the highest dice is. Unless you roll mostly 6s. Then you have critically succeeded. We all good on that? So, we have 3 engagement dice to roll, and we have 3 players. Everybody roll a d6 and tell us the result.
Three.
3, that's a fail.
Mhm.
That's a 3 for me.
That's a fail.
It says 3d6s.
No, just roll
1d6
1
for
and
you.
tell me the
Just one-
result.
Sorry,
No worries.
6.
A 6! A complete
Oh,
success!
no.
Thank God.
With a complete success, a good result. You are in a controlled position when the action starts, and this is where we get to know the game Blades in the Dark. We don't play it. We don't spend 3 hours planning the heist like in Dungeons and Dragons just to immediately break with the plan. We just start. So, where do we find our brilliant party of shadows sneaking and skulking, I hope, their way around a casino that you are moments away from robbing? And remember, this game is not D&D. It's like Ocean's 11. So jump right into that flavor. Tell me where we find you three, and you don't need to be in the same place.
Leo. Yeah, go
Do we
ahead.
do we decide our load beforehand? Too?
Yeah, so you would decide that now.
Normal then for me.
I'll be honest, I thought you guys had probably already checked that. That's okay. So just
Okay.
let me know what load you went with. Light load means visibly you look like a normal person, and you could probably even be searched and get away with it. Medium load means that you look a little suspicious, and if you're searched, they will totally find things on you that they won't like. If you have a heavy load, you are visibly dangerous. It is obvious that you are plotting something. It's like seeing someone walking down the road with two big black duffel bags.
I've got a light load.
Yeah, and you guys really built for that. So you are pack rats under the shadows, which means that your light load for your character is essentially 5, which is a moderate load, right? For anybody else. Is that true? Yes, that's a normal load for anybody else. So you guys can really hide a lot of equipment in amongst your various pockets and things.
Because of our contact being the fucking tailor.
Yeah, see? Now there you go. That's how you do in-world world building. Baby. And what's even better is Stefan's character is a mule, right?
Yeah.
That means your light load's not 5, it's 7.
Oh, okay.
My
Nice.
God.
So it's default 5 plus 2, 7. So Stefan's character, so let me refresh myself of your name. Elder Tovos apparently is just covered in small knives, just hidden in every crevice and compartment of their outfit. We're going to go around again, and I want you guys to tell me where you find, and you can be in pairs, you can be by yourself. Where do we find Leo? The heist music starts to play. We're doing those like swipe comic panel cutaways, and the first panel comes up, and it's Leo. What's going on?
Leo is walking through the main area to the back room, like where the pit bosses are.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
So we
He's
find-
walking right up.
Leo just sort of skulking his way around. Nothing making him look suspicious. That cutaway shrinks, goes into the bottom left corner. Another one comes up, moves to the center. Where do we find Elzer Tovos preparing for this heist?
I think he's already like dressed like one of like the repair technicians for one of the for the casino things. So he's like laying down underneath one, sort of like sorting with the wires and the machinery.
Yeah, so is that a costume, or were you looking to do a flashback and burn a little stress? 'Cause, yeah, I'm looking at your stuff and I see you could check off subterfuge supplies, and then we'll make
Definitely.
a check to see how successful what's going on is. Or you can flashback and burn a stress to say that I got a hold of a uniform using my fashionista contact. Which of those two sounds more exciting to you?
Yeah, I imagine maybe he mentioned like repairing an outfit for someone, like one of the workers here, like had brought it in for him to repair, and so he might have had it there, and we are like, we'll borrow it from you. We'll
Absolutely.
get
So
it back before they miss it.
I will say
So
one
stress through that.
stress because it's an unlikely opportunity, right? The odds that he was going to have
Yeah.
that uniform are quite low, but it's certainly not too stress. So burn one stress, and as Leo walks by, he makes brief eye contact with Elzer, who is currently doing maintenance on a slot machine in a uniform that has been pilfered. That panel swings up in the top corner as they diverge, and a third one emerges. Where do we find Sam Salt, our whisper?
I'm on the table. I'm getting everyone amped. I'm making a crowd.
Okay, so it sounds like we have our first roll as Sam tries to pull focus away from Leo and Elzer. Sam, go ahead. Now, this is a huge difference between D&D and this game. I am not about to tell you which skill to roll. You tell me what skill you want to roll, and then depending on how well it fits, affects if it is a limited, standard, or great effect. No matter what, you guys are starting controlled. The situation is locked in because you got that 6. The 3 ratings for that are controlled, risky, desperate. Desperate, and anytime you make a desperate check, you get to mark experience in the relevant resolve, prowess, or insight. So that getting in that desperate situation and not running from it is how you get the experience you need to build those skills. So, what skill did you want to roll, Sam?
I'm hoping for like commanding, kind of like a command, like "Hey, look, I'm about to beat the house."
Okay, I think that's really fun. Yeah, so I might have said limited, but you've made a really good case for how you are literally commanding the attention of the room. So I think that we will call that controlled standard. You're not going to get in trouble for trying to get people excited about gambling at a casino. So I think it's definitely controlled. And I might have said limited, but I think I'll say standard because you've made a good case there. So go ahead and roll your command, which is a number of d6s equal to the number of circles you've filled next to command.
I got 2 in command.
Yeah, so roll 2 and take the higher. If you don't have any, you roll 2 and take the lower. So be careful before you roll a skill, that you don't necessarily have the bona fides for.
4.
4 was the highest. Okay, so a positive result, but with a consequence. You're calling a tremendous amount of tension over to yourself, and some of it is negative. You move from a controlled position to a risky position as lots of people come over to watch what you're doing as you keep like rolling dice and like making this big spectacle. But you can't help but notice that 2 of the people are a lot sterner looking than the others, and one of them is wearing a suit. You get the sense that you've called enough attention that some people are watching you. Okay. We cut away from that, but it was a success. So, Elzer and Sam, because this is, of course, all part of the plan you came up with already, you watch all that attention get pulled to Sam, and that lets you 2 know that it's time. Who wants to take the first next thing to have happen?
Leo's going to walk into the next room, where like the computer room, essentially the important room. He's walking right in. The distraction has pulled the most important pit boss away, the one in the suit. So he's going in and he's dealing with some of the underlings as he enters in.
Absolutely. So you walk up to a door that is unlocked, which tells me, so I'm cool with the door being unlocked. It just means you're not going to step into a super important room on your first pass. So you open a door that is unlocked and you see a small room with a lot of CCTV footage up against the right-hand wall. Prospect, for those of you at home. Somewhere between technological and magical, so stuff like that exists, but maybe there's crystals in the TVs or whatever. And you see a bunch of security people in this room, and it becomes obvious why this room does not need a lock. There's no loose guns or swords or crossbows around. These are guards who are already armed and already in uniform, who are just sort of chatting. And behind them is another door. What does the text on that door say? Where are you headed? Are you headed to like the vault?
Yeah, it's essentially like a what Leo's posing as is an accountant who's going to look over the books and the contracts to make sure things are looking good. So it's like the contract room. I don't know what you would even call it. The ledger room.
Yeah. So rather than, I think I've got we look up and we're expecting to maybe see the normal door, which would say like accounts receivable, but that's not this casino's real moneymaker. And so we see a sign above the door that says accounts sendable. And this is the office that is responsible for this stock market of souls, selling these people off for pennies on the dollar. You walk in and a lot of security has been pulled away, but 4 or 5 are still in the room. Most of them look pretty green, but one of them is watching the TVs to keep an eye on the situation, turns around, makes eye contact with you, and for a second, you can tell that they don't recognize your face. How are you approaching the situation?
I pull out of my gear documents. And it is essentially like a CPA certification. And I say, I'm here to look over the accounts. If I can get access to that, that'd be incredible.
Great. So you filled a load to have some documents. You scribble that in and you hold these up. I love it. What skill did you want to roll? And so this is a really good example I want to clock in for those who are maybe learning the game at home. So for instance, Stefan, if you wanted to help Spencer succeed on this action, you could say, I'm going to burn a stress to give him +1 dice, and I start the process of these machines winning. Or you could hold off, right? Maybe this role's not that serious. The situation's still controlled. You know what I mean? So it's kind of your call. You got to sort of try to follow the flow of the heist. Leo, what skill did you think you were rolling with this? You have these documents. You could roll Tinker to say that like that's you creating them. You could roll just Sway if this is just you being charming and you happen to have the right papers.
I was gonna hit him with a command. I'm higher than a security guard. I'm saying, show me the way, unlock the door.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so go ahead and roll for command. I will say rather than controlled standard, this is controlled great because you've checked off a piece of equipment that sort of moves you up a little bit.
So what do I get with the controlled great?
Basically, all that means is if you succeed on this check, you are going to move forward easily to the next area. Controlled standard would mean like you're going to get through that door, but there still might be some complications on the other side. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. I rolled double sixes.
Double sixes is a critical success.
Let's
With
go.
that, he looks up at the screens and is looking at the situation and is like kind of starting to look uncertain. As enough attention gets pulled away, you see that he's looking and seeing a lot of unattended slots and stuff. And you see that he sees somebody who looks like violently drunk, and they're starting to look like they're about to puke, but they're next to a row of slot machines. And he like reaches over and goes, "Fine," and hands you a key.
Perfect.
Hands
And
it
I walk
to you
up to that
and
door.
dashes out the door. And that's
Hell
what
yeah.
a crit. That is a crit on a great effect on a controlled. So that's a perfect storm. You just get handed the key to this room, unlock the door, and step inside. And I cut back outside. We leave Leo. The camera pans away from Leo as he steps through that door into, we don't know what the next space looks like, and follows the security guard back out onto the floor. There's the ringing of winning machines. There's the sounds of frustration. This guy is focused on the dude about to vomit on the slots. He is jogging over to try to get a hold of this dude. And we cut away to one of the other two of you. I'd like it to be Elzer, because we have yet to get a roll for Elzer. Elzer, what are you doing to gamify the position here?
Yeah, I think with the subterfuge tools, I was wanting to like basically like do it so like the next payout that'll happen from this thing, instead of like having it like quantify like you won, here's like a couple coin or something. I want it to just like keep on feeding out and out and out. So it's
Totally.
like the throttle for it is just like completely broken after like a couple of turns.
I love that. So just a small important note, there is a little bit of, so coin is what we call the
Yeah,
money
not
you guys
literal.
make, and that's like an abstract bunch of money. So you just wanted to spit out, I guess, silver. It's like half a
Yeah.
D&D setting. So these like silver 1 ounce coins, these like heavy ounce coins that are used basically in place of what would be chips, or what in the normal world is like copper coins. It spits out these like chunky silver coins. So you get under there and are trying to rig it, not even just so that it like is easy to win, but so that the next time someone's wins, it just vomits out all of the money that is in it. What did you want to roll to do that?
Mainly wreck, because like I don't care about this machine being serviceable afterwards. I just want to like make sure that it's able to be to achieve our goal of like giving these people like tons of money.
So I'll totally give you standard effect. I will say this will move you from a controlled position to a standard position, to a risky position, because you are visibly breaking this machine if you're using wreck, right? It's not like you're delicately tampering with it. This means that guy runs away, the guys don't look at the camera, and Elzer looks around and punches the front of the machine. Go ahead and roll rec. Let's see what the result is.
All right. I got
And
a
this is just a
5 and
reminder.
a
So, for
6.
instance, Elzer, if you wanted better odds of success, you could say, I'm going to push myself. I burn 2 stress to get another dice. You know what I mean? Like that is how you can sort of spend stress to keep succeeding. What'd you get?
Mhm. Yeah, well, I think from his working with salvage and stuff, a lot of times when he finds something that he needs to kind of just like brute force, he usually like does that by instinct. So I've got like the 2 points in rec. So rolled a 5 and a 6.
5 and a 6. You guys, for the record, these are incredible rolls.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, with a 5 and a 6, it just works perfectly. You loosen a panel with your tools. You look really inconspicuous. You see the thing you need to break, and you just like visualize where it is so that you know what you need to hit. Stand up in front and whack, slam your hand into the front of the machine and hear that satisfying crunch. And you know that this little glass tube that is responsible for like channeling the energy to stop the payout is broken.
Mm.
So the next roll will win, and this thing will just start to vomit out money when it does. We shift away from you with that success, a distraction basically in the bank to use whenever you want. Sam or Salt Dog or Leo, what happens next? Sounds like Salt Dog's having a coughing fit. Leo,
Yeah.
what happens
Sorry.
next?
Oh yeah, Leo enters into that account sendable room.
You step through into accounts sendable. You find yourself in a pretty capacious rectangular room. No windows, no clocks, nothing. There are a couple of cameras up on the ceiling, obviously, to keep good track on this room, and it is just a filing cabinets up against the wall, another row in the room, another row in the room, filing cabinets against the wall, and a desk smack dab in the center of the room with, I don't know what a telephone looks like here, but some version of that, right? So there's an arcane, we have this sort of fuel described, but I don't think that's what they would use here. I think there's this like vial of this salt water, this like really heavily magically loaded salt water that is screwed into the side of like a pickup call and receiver cell phone on the table. And so it would seem that this is like the like the stock market in the 80s, a place where you would like call and make sales, put it down, grab a new set of folders, call and make sales. These are all paper documents though. What do you do? There's dozens of filing cabinets in this room.
I'm going to go to the furthest filing cabinet and work my way back, opening them up, checking contracts really quick and grabbing them. The goal being grabbing the oldest contracts first.
So I'm going to start a clock. So in Blades in the Dark, clocks are a way for us for perfectly this situation, which is, it sounds like Leo's going to start at one end and just go until he runs out of time. Go until somebody else walks into this room important. So Spencer, you may end up spending the next few moments really rather quiet. This is a complicated action, but not too bad. I'm going to start a 4-piece clock, and that is just checks. Somebody is going to check on the contracts. Somebody is going to walk back and ask, hey, where did that accountant go? And then they're going to go check on you. The goal now for Trelios and Sam is to, for Elzer and Sam is to slow down security from going in that room for as long as possible. So I will start another 4-section clock that is Leo finishes. Leo, you finish what you are doing. So basically, we cut to the scene as Leo looks around, takes the drawer, and rather than grabbing files out, lifts the drawer out of the cabinet, puts it on the table, goes up to the phone, and just starts like shuk, 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 and calling and just saying names and setting prices. As we cut back out to the casino floor, I would love it if Salt Dog would go next. What are you doing to maintain focus away from Leo?
I'm going to push, and I'm going to accuse this place of cheating, with And this is where my push comes from. From uh the deck that we've been using for blackjack or something is a a bad deck, a cheater's deck.
Did you swap out cards?
Uh-huh.
Totally. So what? So this sounds like maybe finesse. What were you thinking?
Yeah, is
So pushing yourself means you get +1 die to your dice pool.
yeah.
So
I
what
think finesse
skill
would be
did
the
you want to
only
roll
way.
to sort of bait and switch this deck for a loaded deck? And again, you could say any. You could say I do it with study. I might give you a limited effect because I'm a little trepidatious to accept that, but it's really up to what you want to use. You could certainly say attune is magic in this game for the most part. So that is one of
Oh,
your
is that
options.
what I was about to ask what a tune was?
Yeah, attune is in normal Blades in the Dark it is commune with ghosts. Obviously, we aren't playing in that world. So for us, attune is basically like arcana. It's I flex a little bit of magical talent.
Yeah. Can you study? Like I've studied like cheaters cards.
Do you have any points in study?
I do have 1 point in
You have one.
study.
So here's what I'll say. Yes, you can. That push, rather than it giving you +1 die, I'm going to say that's going to give you +1 effect. So normally study, I would give you limited effect, right? It's not super connected to swapping out this deck. But because you've pushed yourself, you're going to roll 1 die, and we're going to elevate it to risky standard. You're in a risky situation now. You're going to get standard effect, which basically just means you will gather even more attention around yourself and maybe get some people yelling.
Mhm.
But you only got 1 die to roll.
Yep.
Salt Dog actually spent a lot of time watching Rain Man,
Just so much time.
and that's his study.
It is a 5.
It's a 5. That is a success with consequences. You start. What I will say, the consequence for this is, things turn nasty immediately. You yell like they're cheating. Flip the deck over, and it is a loaded deck. And all of the people around you who you were hoping would get outraged, you suddenly realize that you are in a casino at 11:30 at night, and they all go berserk. Immediately, you watch as they begin to freak out. One of them turns around and punches the security guard that was behind you, and is like, "You mother!" And this entire room erupts into chaos. And the rest of the guards that were in that room in front of Leo pour into this room. So you've succeeded. The situation in here has gotten very desperate. Things have broken bad immediately. As all of this chaos erupts, I want to quickly cut over to Elzer. Elzer, as chaos erupts, what do you do?
I think just perhaps like saying like, or probably finding someone who's like a little less phased by the command, or a little less phased by the commotion. I'll be like, just got this one finished up if you want to give it a go, and try and draw someone over to start the using the machine that I just sabotaged.
Totally, yeah. So it sounds like what do you want to roll to get that done? What do you think?
I guess maybe command then, just to like say, hey, come on over, give it a go, like to
Yeah.
convince them more, like to focus over here instead of over at the card game area.
Yeah, I'll say this a similar thing to what. So you were in a standard position. This room is broken very bad. I'm gonna say you'll stay standard, but if you fail, this is probably gonna call a lot of attention to you because you're gonna be yelling like, "Quick, use this machine!" like pretty loud.
Yeah. All right. And that is a 1.
How do I help out in this situation? Do I push myself
So
to
in this,
give him
so
an effect?
in this moment, unfortunately, it is a little too late. So what you would,
Ah.
if you wanted to give him a die, you could have. What needs to happen now? Oh well, it doesn't need to happen. I'll give you the consequences here, and you can tell me whether or not you want to take them. And if you don't, we will talk about resisting in this game, right? So if you want to take the consequence, I can tell you what it is right now. You yell that out, and the pit boss looks over and will see that the machine is broken and then make eye contact with you and know that you did it, and your situation will become desperate. You will no longer be disguised, basically, and it will become obvious that you are doing something in this casino you are not supposed to be doing. If you want to resist, in this case, you would roll what is called a resist roll. So you would roll resolve, which means you'd roll a number of d6s equal to that column below resolve. Just those first pips of the skills. The consequence will either be reduced or negated, and you will take stress equal to 6 minus the highest result that you rolled.
Okay, so like the ones vertically in resolve. So I've got 2 pips there.
So you would roll 2d6,
2d6.
and you would
Alright, to
take
resist.
6 stress minus the highest number you roll.
Okay,
So you
yeah.
might get 0.
Yeah, you might get 0, and then you're just good to go. You dodge into the next area, take a deep breath, and push on.
Yeah.
Or
But
you might
take 5.
really start to
Yeah.
whittle away your stress.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, maybe like eyeing the pit boss. I'll be like, gotta get them distracted from that brawl over there. And I rolled a 4 and a 1.
4 and a 1. Okay, so
So-
take 2 points of stress. The sweat beads form on your thing. You yell this out. You're like, I'm trying to pull them away. The pit boss squints hard at you and then turns back to what he was doing. And with that, I will fill in one of the pies. Someone is going to want to go check on those accounts here in a minute as this chaos breaks out and we fail a check. As we cut back in, Leo, I will also say we've had a successful action. So these pies are moving like perfectly around one another. The camera cuts back to Leo. Leo, you're like 7 cabinets deep, and like your arms are getting tired from hauling these files back and forth. Are you bothering to like leave this room tidy, or are there files like scattered around on the floor?
There's files scattered around. At this point, the assumption is they're going to know, and they're going to come in and see this right away. We have to get the fuck out after the fact.
Okay, absolutely. So we cut to Leo doing all of this. Leo, are you doing anything to try to speed yourself up or try to make sure nobody comes into this room? Or are you just plugging away?
I think that at this point, everybody should be moving pretty well. Leo thinks that. So he opens the door to see what the security room looks like.
Yeah, you open the door, the security room is empty, and then you look over the CCTVs and see a small riot has broken out on the floor.
Perfect. Yeah, Leo runs over to the door, the security door, and he drags one of the empty filing cabinets with him, and he places it down and shoves it under the door handle.
Absolutely. Go ahead and what skill do you want to roll to basically like buy yourself a free piece of the pie here?
Unfortunately, my only abilities are study, prowl, command, consort, and sway. If I could make a study where it's like I figure out the best ways to block this shit off. Like this is going to keep them from coming in the longest. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I'll give you the same offer I gave before. So that's pretty tenuous. But
Yeah.
if you take 2 stress to change your position to be a little bit higher, you'll still only have however many dice you have for study, but you can sort of try to like angle this a little bit.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, go ahead. So this is definitely risky standard. It would have been risky limited.
That was a 4.
A 4, success with consequences. You like we see this big brain moment as you peek in and look, and you're like, oh, you lean back and are dragging this filing cabinet. You manage to get it in front of the door, and I will fill in another pie on Leo gets everything done. But as you tip it up against the door, it goes kung, and the door rings. And you all out in the lobby hear it as well. So the door is blocked, and you filled another square of the pie. But one of the security guards looks over, having heard the noise. Not enough to fill one of the sections over here. but the timetable, this is turning much less stealthy as you make choices like that. We cut back to the two of you that are causing a ruckus out in the area. Last I heard, Elzer and Sam were both trying to leave. Did you mean leave the room or leave the casino? And again, remember, you can pretend that this is all part of the plan and tell me the very cool, clever thing that happens next. We just might have to burn some stress to do it.
I think I was just trying to leave the room, not leave the heist.
Yeah, totally. So you sort of start like ducking through this crowd. Where are you headed in the casino? Are you headed like up to the bar? Are you headed all the way out to the lobby? What was the goal?
Right now I think I'm still on distraction duty, sort of. I think you know what? Actually, I think is Big Man McGee out on patrol now?
Yes. So the pit boss had started to sort of move around. You can see that now the pit boss is sporting a pair of brass knuckles and has started just like grabbing people and wailing them down to the floor and is quickly corralling that situation, right? These are professionals. They're good at this. And that situation is
Alright.
quickly dying down.
All right. I don't want it to die down yet, so I'm going to do something. I'm going to use my special ability.
Okay.
The one I chose was Tempest.
Oh my
I can
goodness.
push. Uh-huh. I can push myself to do one of the following: unleash a stroke of lightning as a weapon, summon a storm in your immediate vicinity.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. So yeah, I'm. You see, Sam, go. Guess we're doing this already, and I pour myself a shot of ocean water and down that.
You drink this awful, salty, strange, it tastes like ozone, like licking a 9-volt battery, little beaker of water that you carry at your hip and start to channel some of the might of the sea. And Elzer, you look up and start to feel like droplets of rain on your face as look up and see that a small storm is beginning to brew inside the casino. Sam, go ahead and mark 2 stress because you've just pushed yourself. And I will absolutely say that that works, and we will fill in another slice of the pie. Leo, as you are furiously tearing, now you've given up on bringing things back and forth. You now have like the receiver in your hand and are opening filing cabinets and like incredibly quickly like ripping files out to do this. You've made it most of the way through the room. You're like at like the 2/3 mark here. You are working incredibly hard trying to get through these as quick as you possibly can as all that chaos breaks out. Elzer, where do we find our cutter watching this situation get pretty bizarre?
I think the pit boss does seem like the one to go for because he's kind of corralling people, and to keep the chaos going, I kind of want to go up behind him and using kind of like my my salvage tools, just like get this guy like a big whack in the back of the neck kind of thing, just to like take him out so he's not like commanding the rest of the
Totally.
security detail.
Yeah, so normally this would be desperate, but there's a storm, there's the stuff going on in the room. I'm going to say it's risky standard. I think it's risky because you're hitting a guy, but the effect, if you want to knock him out, you'll knock him out.
Yeah.
So I take it you're filling a weapon? You're taking up some
Yeah,
equipment?
scary weapon or tool, I guess.
Yeah, totally. So
So-
scary weapon or tool. I'll be honest, I don't really know if that means anything in particular, so we're just gonna move on by until I know what that rule is. We'll say it'll add 1. So actually it'll be great effect then, because I know fine weapons increase your position. We'll say for now, scary weapons do the same. And we'll bring your position up to great effect. So you're gonna take this dude out for like the next couple hours.
Before
if you
you
can pull
roll,
this off.
I use my special ability, Foresight, and I assist you without paying stress. and I have to tell you how I prepared for it.
Yeah, how'd you do that?
I figured out the employee rotation here, and we pulled the heist on a day where I knew this was the pit boss working, and he famously has like an old high school sports injury that's his weak point, and I was like, if you hit him in the back of the left leg, that'll take him down. You'll destroy his ACL.
Nice.
Yeah, you see, Elder, against all odds, you've perfectly maneuvered this. Leo doesn't have to burn a stress for that, which is incredible. And you can see that on his left leg, there's a barely perceptible bulge to one side of the clothing, probably a knee brace. And you know this is the
Yeah.
guy Leo warned you about. You wind up to crack him in the side of the leg. What do you want to roll to do this and add another die?
Oh, all right. Yeah. Rolling skirmish.
Yeah, I figured. So roll
Oof.
skirmish and roll 3 instead of 2.
Okay. A 4, 6, and a 6.
That is
Ooh.
a critical
Ooh.
success. You hear an awful snap,
Ooh.
and his leg. You were expecting to hit it and for him to drop down like normal. His leg bends this way. Like instead of
Ugh.
forward, backward, it bends sideways, and he
Mm.
shrieks and falls to the ground, and immediately goes into shock. He is. This hurts so badly that he starts to like jerk and lean up against the table as he is unbelievably blindsided by this pain. You have taken him completely out of the situation. Okay, with that. That all we talked about that very condensed. It's sort of stretched out over a couple of minutes of panic. Eventually, we keep cutting back and forward to Leo being like, Adams, Elliot, just going down a list of names, saying them as fast as he possibly can. And just as you hear that snap and he falls, and the both of you stand up, catch your breath, and make eye contact, Leo, you cling, hang up the phone. The last file in your hands. Not enough maybe to bankrupt these people, but their entire payout for the last month is now gone. What do you do?
I cut the wire and I get all the papers stacked up. I've been stacking them. They're in disarray, but they're close, and I light them on fire. And I walk out.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point you guys have a really good handle on this situation. I think we're going to call this controlled standard. I don't think there's much risk here other than that, like, you're setting a fire is never great, but like, not, you don't care. It's not your building. So you, we cut to Leo striking a match and flicking it into the fire. What did you want to roll to make this impromptu bonfire?
It's going to have to be wreck, which I don't have any skill in. But I'm using demolition tools to do it. So I take an additional load for that.
Okay. So this is a little bit of an odd situation here. All right. So demolition tools is going to basically like give you what you need to do this, right? To light all this at once. Having no pips means you're going to roll twice and take the lower. If you spend 2, you'll go up to having 1. But I don't know how much stress you have if you can really afford to spend 2. Or one of the other people could say, this is what I do to let that happen. What were you about to say?
I'm okay with spending 2 stress for it.
Okay. So you're going to spend 2 stress to push yourself to get 1 die. And I, just so we hit all the rules, want to offer you a devil's bargain. A devil's bargain is a mechanic where I, as the GM, basically have, what do you call it? Fiat to sell you. I think you can do this if you'd like. I'll let you have another bonus die, but you will take a minor wound. You will take a level 1 harm because you will burn yourself in the process.
I will take that deal.
Okay, so you can add another dice and put, probably not burned, put scalded in. Excuse me, in one of those level 1 slots. I have to take a drink.
All right, scalded, and I will roll my 2d6. A 3 and a 4.
For just pushes you
Thank
up.
God.
Yeah,
Thank
Devil's
God.
Bargain came in clutch there. With a 4, it'll be with a consequence. So you push all the stuff, get all of it in the center of the room, light it. It flares up and burns your hand, and starts to spread to the cabinets, and then the walls. And you turn around and look and see the heavy filing cabinet you've pushed in front of the door.
Fuck.
And you look back at the fire and look back at the cabinet, and then go, oh, well, I can tell them that I'm trapped. And you look at the phone cord that you just cut.
Oh, and I look at the cameras, and the pit boss has been put into shock. I'm like, no, shit.
Yeah, the pit boss, you see his leg is capital B broken. He is not having a good time. What do you do as you are stuck in this room? A fire behind you, the blocked door in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna start dragging at that cabinet as quick as I can.
Okay, I would say your situation has become desperate.
Desperate.
What do you want to, an important note. We had somebody else roll a desperate check, right? I feel like a desperate check kicked around.
I did a resistance one.
Okay, never mind then. So this is our first desperate check. So, Leo, you can fill one of the insight ticks next to whatever skill you are about to make a desperate check for.
Gotcha. What I'm gonna do is command, and I'm banging on like the one-way
Yeah.
glass to get somebody to come and open it up.
So fill in one of those experience points at the end of resolve. Fill in one of those. When those are all full, you can pick something to increase.
Okay.
Because you've made a desperate attempt here. And go ahead and roll command.
All right. 4 and a 1.
A 4 and a 1. Yes, you bong, 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 bong start banging on the glass. As Elzer and Sam, you both hear that and look up. You see the security guard who went over to help the vomiting guy turns, opens the door, and goes, stands back a little confused. Wait, no, there's a thing in the way. No, it was a mixed success, basically. So he goes, kumph, leans back, slams into it. The door swings open. The cabinet goes up against the ground, and a bunch of air flows into the room, and a bunch of smoke and the fire behind you flares with the newfound fuel, and smoke starts to pour out of the room, and he goes, what the fuck did you do? As smoke is pouring out. This guy is in your face. Your situation is still desperate.
Somebody came in. He's in the back room right now. He's lit fire to the contracts. He kept me hostage. Please let me out before the fires get me.
Oof. All right, make a desperate sway roll as you bark that out. Does anybody want to assist Leo? Anybody got a stress to burn?
Yeah, I can burn stress.
How do you help?
How have I not helped yet?
Oh, okay. No, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so you're just riding. You're like, look around. Like, this guy's incredibly... He would maybe have an easy time believing that, something nefarious is up. Because something nefarious is up. All right, Michael. I like your style. Mark a stress. And
Okay.
Leo, pop off with command sway, probably, right? I'm not supposed to tell you what to roll.
I was doing sway.
Yeah, so do sway and add an additional die for... Sam's help.
That is a 3 and a 6.
You needed that 6. You were You were just chaining desperate. Oh wait, mark another desperate action.
Oh shit! Hell yeah!
Unresolved. You did another one. You managed to get that 6 in, and he looks back, and you turn around, and it's just a total coincidence because of the way the table pushed and the chair pushed. It does kind of look like there is a figure behind the fire just because of the way the chair fell. Like it's licking around the corners. Like when you have a coat hanging in the corner of the room and you wake up and you're like, ah! And it scares the shit out of you. He like, oh my God, and he pulls and a collapsible baton and dashes past you as you charge out into the room. The three of you now all are in the middle of this chaos. Most of the customers have fled at this point, but heavy rain is still pouring inside the casino. You see that machine at some point got bumped, and silver coins are just spitting out into the room. And some people, those who are really desperate, aren't running. Like there's a couple of people who are soaked through their clothes who have like the front of their shirt pulled up and are like pulling coins into their
Sam
shirt.
is one of them.
A couple of the security guards are trying to like rip them away. A bunch of the others are crowded around the pit boss whose leg has been unlegged and are trying to comfort him. You all need to escape. I'm going to need one more something to get that done.
All right. Using subterfuge supplies, which I'm marking off now. I think that I have accumulated extra costuming that I'm going to give to the gang here.
Oh, great.
So Elzer like whips off his mechanic's uniform and we put on what is it? Elsec? That's the securities group.
Yeah, Elsec.
We put that on, like a coat and a hat, each of us.
Okay. Yeah, no,
We
for
can
sure.
walk in.
Yeah, so mark those
ruffians out there.
Yeah, mark that equipment as you guys make your way out the door in Elsec gear. It's Elsec or just Leviathan Security if the name misses you. They are literally just like the security team for the boat. You guys make your way. So with that, yeah, I mean, that's checking off another piece of equipment, making your way towards the door. You all step out into the cool, perpetually salty air of Leviathan off into the night. We get a quick couple of brief cameos as like the credits are rolling in the one corner for this episode. We see a muted conversation of Amancio like thrilled. You dish out some coin. 8 coin gets put out on the table. Amancio takes his as a part of getting this job together for you. And you guys have 7 coin. Your coffers can only hold 2 more. So I assume that 2 go in there and you have 5 left to distribute amongst the 3 of you. Unless you want to put 1 coin in your coffers and take 2 each.
1 coin in coffer, 2 each is easier.
Great. So everybody mark 2 coin. We have, it's 10:08. We have just enough time to work through the XP and then talk a little bit about downtime as you all catch your breath. You have just robbed and seriously hurt the Warburton Casino. So now I'm going to ask each of you to go ahead and mark some individual XP. We're going to go through the list for characters. Every time you roll a desperate action, you mark XP in that action's attribute. We did that. Now, at the end of each session, for each item below, mark 1 XP or 2 XP if that item occurred multiple times. These are going to be a little different for each of you. We have a cutter, a whisper, and a spider, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get those sort of separated out. So for our cutter first, did you address a challenge with violence or coercion? I'd say so. I would say you did.
Somebody's leg.
The pit boss agrees.
Yeah, I think mark 1 XP for that. I don't think you leaned into that too many times.
And is that in playbook or?
Yeah, that's your playbook XP.
Okay.
Do you think you expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background? Maybe. What do you think?
Probably for the giving these people an out with the giving them some money from the sheen.
Sure.
Because the newcomers that are more vulnerable, and I was a newcomer not too long ago.
Yeah, totally. Okay, great. Mark that. I think that's another experience. And then did you struggle with issues from your vice or traumas? I don't think you did. Yeah, no, not quite. We cut over to Leo. Leo, do you think you addressed a challenge with calculation or conspiracy?
Yeah.
I'd say so. I don't know if you did it multiple times. What do you think? The larger your role in the heist was pretty centered on it, but I don't know. What do you think?
I would say I did it twice. Once was using my ability, foresight, to help out with the pit boss, and the other time was using subterfuge to access the back area.
Okay, sure. So I'll say 2. Mark 2 then. Do you believe you addressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
Not particularly.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's why I argued for the other one.
And do you think you struggled with issues from your vice or traumas during the session?
Going after this big haul was that, but I don't know if that necessarily counts.
I don't.
Just because it's like I needed to get extra coin in my pocket.
What's your vice, Leo?
It is luxury. I need to keep up the facade of nobility and refill the coffers.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not so sure. It's a little tenuous.
Meh.
Okay. Cutting over to Sam Salt. Sam, did you address a challenge with knowledge or arcane power? I know you did. Yeah, one time minimum.
Yeah, it was only the one time, I'd say.
Okay, mark an XP for that. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
Not really.
Okay, and do you think you struggled with issues from your vice or traumas? You don't have any traumas, so do you think you struggled with your vice this session?
I did drink my vice.
I don't know if that's struggling with your vice. I don't think I want to say every time you cast a spell, you get a little extra XP. I think we'll keep it there.
Then no.
I think we did a good job. Maybe we'll lean in. You know, you gotta
maybe
as we continue. What's up?
Oh, maybe like doing a fail when you try to use your spell could count as like struggling with your vice, because that would be like a bad outcome, right?
I think it would be better if it was like he has an opportunity to solve something in a less flashy way, but he uses it because he wants to use it.
A strong case. Or it could be as simple as like a situation, and this is mostly RP, a situation could come up where Sam has a really clear thing he should do next, but there's an opportunity to get a hold of a bunch of like this very particular salt water, and Sam abandons the con for a minute to like go grab it. That would be struggling with your vice. Or if there was like a great arcane secret that Sam couldn't resist the opportunity to get a hold of. So that's everybody's personal XP. Great job. We'll nail down the shadow experience for the crew really quick. And then I would like to at least spend a moment to talk about heat.
Just a little bit.
Did you execute a successful espionage, sabotage, or theft?
Yes, sir.
Yes, certainly you did. Did you contend with challenges above your current station? Yes. Yes, you did. You are a tier 0 gang who just robbed a casino. Did you bolster your crew's reputation as being daring, or did you develop a new one? This felt pretty daring.
Yeah, I guess it depends on if it's like once we associate our name with this escapade. So like once they're like, oh wow, we were able to buy our contracts back thanks to our shadow crew or something.
And did you express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew? Yeah, I would say yes. You expressed your goal. I think as we continue, the goals are going to get a little bit more intangible, a little harder to stick to. But at this early moment, the goal is make money and get famous. And you said, hey, we're going to not do the most profitable thing we could do. We're going to just try to do something that's going to get a little bit of attention. And I like that. Okay. So let's talk about the only real mechanics that's left here is our payoff. We already did that. You also earned 2 rep. You actually earned 3 because I will let you know that the Warburton Casino was a tier higher than you all were. So your rep has increased, which is great. We've already done the payout. Now it's time to talk about heat. You guys ready to go through this?
Yep.
0 heat.
Sure.
Smooth and quiet. Low exposure. I don't think it's that.
It's
2
not that.
heat. Contained. Standard exposure. I'm not so sure. 4 heat. Loud and chaotic. High exposure. 6 heat. Wild. Devastating exposure. I think...
I
Go ahead.
I would argue contained. It was only in the casino at this late night event. We didn't take it out on the streets. Nobody else got involved. The fucking security didn't show up.
The fire is going to destroy a lot of the evidence.
Yeah, that's why I lit that fire.
I'm willing to bargain. I will say we will add 3 heat. I think
Okay.
you guys really split the difference here because I can't describe it as contained within the casino.
No, no, not at all.
But I also think you are right. It didn't spill out onto the street. So I'll mark 3 heat. Heat only matters when you get so high that you get a wanted level. Once you get wanted levels, somebody has to go to jail. Somebody has to basically like take the fall. And in downtime, you guys can reduce your heat by taking actions. Now it's time for entanglements. You guys have between 0 and 3 heat. Roll dice equal to your wanted level and read the result according to your heat. And you have a wanted level of 0. So I guess I don't roll a die?
So we get no entanglements.
No entanglements. Okay. I'm
Nice.
probably
Wow.
wrong about that rule, but I don't care. No entanglements. We will probably do downtime next time we play because it's 10:17. We are right on schedule. I will open up the floor for a brief. Michael, I think this is your first time playing Blades in the Dark. Spencer and Stefan, it's been a long while. And I can say confidently, this is our first time getting the rules
playing it
90% right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really goofed it up last time. What did we... This is, I guess, sort of our version of like playing a new TTRPG to get our feet wet. What did we think of Blades in the Dark?
I love that. I think with the rules being correct, that was a lot of fun. It was quick,
Yeah.
snappy. The heist was fun. There was no prep, really. We jumped in, said we're going to do this. We did it. And then we each had individualized characters ready within like 5 minutes. That was great.
Yeah, the only prep would be if anybody out there knows the Saratoga Casino, that was what I was picturing in my head with the one ominous door next to like craps tables. So that's, I guess, the closest you get to it. Stefan, Michael, just any, and it's okay if you're like, this was not for me. Like, I didn't feel like I had enough to do.
No, it's fun. I think it's a good storytelling kind of tabletop.
Yeah.
It is a good way. And it definitely forces everyone to like throw in their own ideas.
Mm-hmm. And this one seemed to go a lot more successful and smoother than the last one too, because I just remember like our characters ended up really beat and battered.
Yeah, so this one, A, we played it correctly, and B, you guys rolled really good. We got a lot of like really consistent 6s and a couple of crits in there. For those of you who don't know, I actually don't even know if we streamed it. The last time we played this, the last time we played Blades in the Dark and Leviathan, they tried to steal an effigy from a cult and ended up trapped inside the vault, and then Spencer's character had to like crush his own hand to keep the door from shutting. He just had to stick it into the gears of the door and took a level 2 harm. And then they climbed out a window and that was their final escape. So, you know, these heists certainly aren't always, you know, going to be this smooth, but I think this one was pretty cool and made a pretty good chunk of cash as we are sort of looking forward. I'm curious to see, you know, what direction you guys kind of end up noodling in. With that, I will say, anybody watching now or in the future, thank you so much for tuning in to Scheduling Conflicts. It is a show that appears when other shows are canceled. Maybe at some point we'll move into full syndication. Who could say? Thank you so much for tuning in. There will be more Blades in the Dark in the future. I have been wanting to keep running this Leviathan game for Scheduling Conflicts forever, so I will. And we'll play other games. I've been looking at Monster of the Week, at Morkborg. When we finish our reskin of Morkborg that we have been working on, that will be one of the Scheduling Conflicts, almost certainly. So, again, those of you now or in the future, feel free to keep tuning in and talking to us about what we're making. Spencer, I don't know the spiel, so I'm going to kick it back to you.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. You can catch this stream every Wednesday. Yes, today's Wednesday. You can catch this stream every Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If we're doing scheduling conflicts, it gets a little bit messed up, so closer to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, but typically 7. You can also follow me, Ethan, and Michael doing our DM Writers Room, where we demystify the DMing and world building process on stream every Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. Besides that, you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can go to our website, trpguy.com. We post memes and articles and advice for DMs and GMs, all that good stuff. So follow us on all socials. Check out our website. We'll see you on the next stream.
All right. Peace out.